What's up, gang? Welcome back to DizDad TV. On today's episode, we're checking out Season 3 of the Disney Plus and Star Wars series, The Mandalorian. This is Episode 3, or Chapter 19, if you're keeping score at home. We want to talk about our reactions for earlier episodes in this series, other Star Wars and Marvel shows. If you're into theme parks, Imagineering content, you can find it on the homepage of my channel. Links in the description below as well. Appreciate you checking that out, like and subscribing if you are so inclined to do that. But I am ready for this episode. I am really catching up on this. I had to leave town last week, literally within a couple hours of this episode dropping. So I have been patiently taking my time to watch this episode. And now I've got both this and episode 4 to catch up on. So be looking for that here on the channel. But again, after last week's episode, episode 2, which was a really, really good episode in my opinion, definitely was looking forward to this and what happens next for our main characters there, Mandalore. You know, after what Bo-Katan saw there in the Living Waters, I gotta believe with today's episode, we're gonna pick up with there and hopefully get some discussion about what she saw there in the waters, you know, the mythosaur, all that. And it was a really all-around great episode for her, in particular, her character. Good moments for Grogu as well. Djarin had some moments as well, though he needed to be helped a couple times there, especially by Bo. But it was just a good episode. Really enjoyed it and looking forward to where we go from here. As far as where we do go from here, it's a good question. Again, I do feel like we're going to pick up with Mandalore today. I feel like there's still a lot left to explore with Mandalore itself, whether they stay there or not. I'll be interested. I hope whatever happens, I hope we do see Mandalore more this season. I feel like it's got to come into play again at some point with all the Mandalorians out there, the different factions and all that. So I'm hoping we're going to see more of Mandalore this season, whether it's this episode or future episodes. Thinking back to the trailer, I do feel like through these first 2 episodes, we've covered a lot of what we saw in the trailer. You think about the scenes and everything. I know kind of the major things I can recall from the trailer we haven't seen yet. We know we're going to end up in Coruscant at some point in some fashion. And then also that scene of the Mandalorians dropping out of the ship there on Navarro, I think we've determined that battle sequence there. So those are really kind of the 2 major sequences from the trailer I can recall that we haven't seen yet. So it's really kind of an open book at this point, story-wise, and what happens next, but definitely looking forward to it. So all that being said, let's just go ahead and check out episode 3 of The Mandalorian. All right, here we go. It's not going to come out after him, is it? And she sure is staring intently. Dad, wake up. Wake up. I guess he didn't take on too much water, did he? Thanks to that helmet.
I am redeemed.
I witnessed it. You bathed in the living waters. You are Mandalorian again.
It wasn't exactly graceful, was it? Oh, is he going to get a sample to take home with him?
You see anything down there?
Oh, here we go.
I saw the chasm passing me as I fell.
Did you see anything alive?
Alive? Like what?
Nothing. Let's get out of here.
What? You got to talk about this, don't you? Is she still in shock? She doesn't want to talk about it? Or doesn't want to admit what she saw? I cannot believe they're not going to talk about it. I guess we're leaving Mandalore too. I hope we do come back, as I said. I'm hoping we're not done with the exploration or any kind of events on Mandalore.
I would invite you in for a feast, but I'm guessing that helmet isn't coming off again. This is the way.
What did he say? Was he saying this is the way? Kind of chiming in? I love the helmet joke there. That's pretty funny. I love that we're getting more star fights. This is great. Good shooting.
I don't see any other choice.
Grogu. Are they both going to drop out of the ship? Oh, God. He is a bad man. He's a bad man. More power to you, brother. I love that it wasn't a perfect landing, too. That would have been too perfect. You better go. Wow. A little too close for comfort there. Oh, did he stall it out? All right, Maverick.
Made it to the N1.
Yeah, every episode he's in this ship. I feel like it just... I love that ship. Her ship too, for that matter. I love this. I love this action. This is great. Where are you, Den? Oh, speak of the devil. There he is. Nice. Yes! And you always wonder why those two wings do that. That's why. That was awesome. He just pops out of his pod.
Just shields. You?
Not a scratch.
These two make a great team, don't they? I love watching this. No! Not the castle. Come on, guys.
Those mudscuffers bombed my home.
Those mudscuffers. She's gonna be pissed now. You guys are in trouble. Fox 2. Oh crap.
Bo, we've got company.
Where did those all come from?
Many of them. We've got to get out of here.
Oh my gosh.
That's a lot of ships for an Imperial warlord.
This is true. Jump into light speed? Yep. Yeah, I'm curious where those things came from. Are they from Gideon? Is he back out and got the resources? Oh, I wonder. I know this eventually leads into Ahsoka. Could that be Thrawn? Oh, we're going to Coruscant.
But now the New Republic has given us a second chance.
Oh, hey, it's our cloning doctor.
Intent on using cloning technology to secure more power for himself.
Is this like a Star Wars TED Talks here?
Can duplicate an individual from a single genetic strand.
He's not done with his cloning just yet, is he?
Oh, my apologies. Empire, Rebels, New Republic, I can't keep track.
Gosh. We got a taste of this with Andor, right? The whole Coruscant society. Things have not changed much, have they? Every time we come to Coruscant, I can just imagine how small it would make you feel. Just this, because everything's huge. Just the planet is like this, and I would just feel minuscule in comparison to the surroundings.
I was just transferred from the Reintegration Institute.
Welcome to Amnesty Housing.
This is all very interesting.
G68.
Doctor.
He knows her.
I didn't expect to see anyone from Moff Gideon's ship here.
Thanks to the rehabilitation program, I can contribute to the New Republic. Just like you.
It sounded kind of forced, didn't it? What kind of libation is this?
There are more of us here than I expected.
Yeah, that surprised me at first, too. It's not how the Empire would have handled it.
No, it's not.
No, it is not. Maybe those yellow travel biscuits.
He misses the food.
Okay.
Drink.
This whole idea of amnesty is interesting how they're doing this, like reintegrating, because you think about the scale of the Empire and all the troops and officers that were involved, and we're getting a glimpse of it here. Obviously, he came from another reintegration area, and I guess you kind of move up in the ranks in your reintegration into society, into the New Republic, but it's kind of interesting, this whole idea of bringing everybody that's part of the Empire, and obviously we saw with the Coruscant society, they flip-flopped either way, but very interesting idea of how this all works out. Oh, what's in the box? Oh, is that the travel biscuits? Oh, he doesn't work with our Thai guy, does he? I know different timelines, but
Wonder why they have you down here. I'm happy to do whatever's asked.
what is he doing, by the way? Is this like a carnival or a festival or something?
All of my research going unfinished. But we were close to making some incredible breakthroughs.
He's not done with it yet, is he?
There are lots of capable people who want to help. You understand what I'm saying?
Something's off about her, isn't it?
They say it's the only place on the entire surface where you can see the planet itself.
That's wild. That's the highest point on Coruscant, or highest natural point, I should say.
Live a little, Doc. It's not the Empire.
There's gonna be alarms blare, isn't there? Yes!
You knew that was gonna happen, didn't you?
She totally did.
Oh, the look on your face was priceless.
Gotta love a Star Wars practical joke, right?
Are you able to maintain a consistent schedule?
Yes.
God, is this his counseling session?
If I were to pursue my own research recreationally, would that be allowed?
Do you have any further questions?
I guess not.
Doesn't want to give it up, does he?
I know it's important, and in the hands of the New Republic, it can actually be used for good.
Don't do it, Doc. Don't do it.
If your research really is as important as you say, I'll take that risk.
It really feels like she's leading him along, doesn't it?
But it's all still perfectly good.
It's Imperial technology.
Yes, but it can still be put to good use.
That's what he's doing.
I know it's not easy, but I assure you, this is truly helping the New Republic.
Interesting, they've got them decommissioning all the old wartime materials and weapons and all that, I assume. And he's got his cookies with him. Or crackers, whatever those were.
Apologies if you didn't hear me.
Not a great pause there.
Our main objective is to help the Republic, and that supersedes everything else.
It does.
He's got his justification now, doesn't he?
It's the right thing to do.
And doggone it, people like you. Reminded me of that SNL sketch from way back in the day. Stuart Smiley. Yeah, he doesn't look nervous at all, does he?
It's gonna be fine. Remember why we're doing this.
Yeah, she is just playing that up, isn't she? Oh, don't stare at the cops. It's never a good move. I love the creatures they've been putting in these shows.
Well, Imperial ships all have mobile lab stations, right?
They do, but they're...
It should be interesting. Get to see decommissioned Imperial ships.
Have you done this before?
Where do you think I got the biscuits?
Yeah, she's got to be playing him.
Tickets, please.
Uh-oh.
Tickets.
No tickets.
Please.
It's not going to be conspicuous at all, is it? No thank you.
Tongs days. Am I right?
You can just hear the nerves in his voice. So how many trains are on this thing? Oh, into the line. Yeah. Is your stop coming up?
We're gonna jump!
What?
You're gonna jump from that? How is that safe? This seems like a bad idea. I mean, I guess they slow in a little bit? He just happened to land on the padded pallets of whatever that is. Oh, wow. Check that out. All that tech had to go somewhere, didn't it?
Ships are all inoperable. No need to guard them.
Except for the door. She's so happy-go-lucky about this, isn't she? Or if that's from an explosion or somebody just ripping out wires. She knew right where to go, didn't she?
I remember the first time I was in a place like this. I couldn't believe I'd made it.
Is a mobile lab gonna fit in that box?
What was that?
Just the ship settling.
Didn't sound like the ship's settling to me. You got company. Run! I get they want the flashlights to see, but when you run with the flashlight and the lights just flickering all over the place, that kind of draws attention to yourself, doesn't it? Yep. You guys got caught.
Amnesty Scientist L-52, raise your hands. You are under arrest.
Just him? What is going on? I figured she was playing him, but not for the New Republic.
Wait.
I just assumed she was working with Moff Gideon.
Amnesty Officer G68 has already submitted a report.
I bet she did.
Indoctrination by the Empire is challenging to overcome.
What is this?
This is a mind flayer.
This is a 602 mitigator.
This guy's voice is killing me.
Recently approved for rehabilitation.
No, it's a mind flayer.
It looks like a mind flare, doesn't it?
You'll see some pleasant colors, hear a light buzzing, and experience a great sense of relief in no time at all.
Yeah, this brings up all kinds of ethics questions, doesn't it?
You don't understand. She brought me there. It was a trap.
It's a trap. And the pause, and he looks away. God, that was great. Oh, wow. I know it wasn't intended as a joke on his part, but that's pretty funny.
It's nice to know that for every failure, there's a success like you.
Is there? Again, ethically, this is just raise all kinds of questions, doesn't it?
He relapsed, but he's a friend. I still care about him.
Doesn't sound very genuine, does it? Oh, she turned it up all the way. Now, is she trying to kill him, or does that just wipe his mind? It looks painful. And she eats a biscuit. Back to our Mandalorians.
Yes, it will go smoother if you keep your helmet on. Trust me.
He knows from experience, doesn't he? Alright, no giant crocodiles, alligators, whatever, is there? He doesn't look thrilled to see them. Again, I love her armor. Just head to toe. She looks great.
I have been to the mines of Mandalore.
Impossible.
Not impossible. He was there.
We have been to the living waters.
Turns a few heads, doesn't it?
I bring proof.
Are they going to test it somehow? Love all the variety in the Mandalorian uniforms and armor and helmets. Oh, that's cool.
These are indeed the living waters.
Indeed.
Djarin, you are redeemed. This is the way.
This is the way.
By creed, you too are redeemed.
That's right.
And have you removed your helmet since?
No.
Nope, she did not.
Then you may join our covert and live as your ancestors once did. Till then, you are one of us.
Interesting turn of events. That guy's still not happy about this, is he? What's she thinking right now? Oh. We gotta discuss that, don't we? There you go. Oh, it was a good episode, right? Comment down below if you guys want to. Overall thoughts, impressions of this episode. It was a good episode. I wasn't blown away by any means. I didn't think it was bad. It was much different. You think about how episode 2, I should say, played out. It was a heck of a lot different than episode 2. Kind of interesting the way this was set up. It was really kind of sandwiched. We kicked off the first, 4 or 5 minutes maybe, up until the title screen, with Mandalorian action, and then we capped it off the last 3-4 minutes with Mandalorian sandwiched around the bulk of the episode, which was Coruscant. Again, it was a whole different vibe from, the last one, exploration, little bit of battle, dialogue, Mandalore, all that. It was, and this, again, I get why they did this, and I'll be curious to see how it plays out, what the whole Coruscant episode or part of the episode ties into the season at large. And again, I didn't dislike this by any means. It just didn't click with me as much as the last one did. And I'll be curious too. I don't know who said this. I think maybe a few people have said this, but you think back, episode 1, I did like episode 1. I think episode 1 was better than this one, but I know there was something that somebody brought up, if they had released episodes 1 and 2 together, how that would have, just the connectivity of those two, if you'd watched those back to back, how that would have helped episode 1 a little bit, kind of move things along, and then just kind of continue right to episode 2. So I'll be curious when I get into episode 4, and maybe it won't. It may be a completely separate storyline, may have nothing to do with what happened now. But I'll be curious watching 4, if watching them pretty close together, which I will, how that will help, if it does help this episode. Again, not that this was bad by any means. It was a little slower paced and not truly different from a lot of the Mandalorian episodes we've gotten. I feel like even going back previous seasons. But start off first things. The Mandalorian parts I thought were great. We picked up immediately, with the Living Waters. I still can't believe she didn't talk to Djarin about the mythosaur. Maybe she was just still in shock seeing that, which I don't blame her. Again, she's grown up thinking this was a myth, and then kind of seeing it in person. So I'm kind of surprised they didn't talk about it. Again, all those TIE interceptors, I'm really curious. I don't know if that would have been Gideon. I wonder if that was from Thrawn. Just random guess. That would make some sense just because we know this is eventually, I don't know if Ahsoka's even going to be in this season or not, but we know eventually this is going to kind of tie in somewhat from what we've heard to the Ahsoka series, and it's all kind of the same time frame. And that many ships, not that Gideon couldn't have those kinds of resources, but just the amount that generally seems like a Thrawn type of presence and authority to have that much on display. So maybe that's something we'll get answered later. That might be kind of like a cliffhanger for episode 8, potentially, leading into Ahsoka. And then they're, capping off the episode with the Mandalorian parts. And it's really interesting, again, for Bo-Katan, just the arc that she's taken. You think back now over an episode and a half where she's gone from in episode 1, and she's, sitting in that castle, her and the droid. She's by herself, no Darksaber, which we didn't see Darksaber this episode, which wasn't really a need to. But just kind of where she's gone from the end of that episode 1 through episode 2, and then now the little bits in this point. She had nothing And now she's got seemingly this kind of partnership, friendship, whatever this is going on with Djarin, watching them connect. Last episode, even the first parts of this episode, as they work to get teamed up together, and now he's kind of bringing her home to his family, I guess. And then she gets welcomed in because she bathed in the living water. She hasn't taken her helmet off. And now she's got this family. And again, you can't see facial expressions because of the helmets, but it's neat to kind of see the actors doing these, like, I cannot think of the guy's name, the big guy there. You can tell he's not just the mannerisms, you can tell he's not happy. And then kind of watching her as they're all patting her on the shoulder, this is the way, welcoming her to the Children of the Watch. And she's just kind of looking around, and you can just kind of imagine what's going on in her mind. And it's going to be interesting to see, because this is not her belief system, but you wonder if she's starting to believe that this is going to be something that takes hold with her long term. How that plays out, because she's seen things she didn't expect to see. She's got other Mandalorians now. When you saw when she walked into the cave, she's looking around. She's like, "Hey, I'm back with Mandalorians again." And that just kind of the kind of comfort level that brings for her. Really kind of interesting to kind of see that play out for her. But really kind of the bulk of this episode was Coruscant. I always love going to Coruscant. And again, just the scale of the planet, the whole mountaintop thing is the highest natural peak that you could see. That was a little mind-blowing there. At times it felt, obviously I know this show's done the volume, so there were at times it felt, just kind of watching it, it was not off-putting, but it didn't look the greatest on screen. I think back to like when they walked through the carnival scene, and just it was obvious the two of them. There are certain scenes in Coruscant that looked better than others, but that one didn't look as good for me personally. When they're walking through that, but it's just kind of, and I mentioned, I think we were watching, the whole Coruscant society, and we got glimpses of that in Andor. And this is, X number of years later, and things are still kind of the same. It's kind of a hands-off, not me kind of approach, which way the wind is blowing, so to speak. Really, these folks are still annoying all these years later, at least to me anyway. So that's kind of interesting. And then this whole idea of amnesty, and I can't remember if I got into it too much there, but it's obviously you've got all these thousands of ex-stormtroopers, officers, scientists, what have you, from the Empire. And it's like, what do you do with all that? And it's never really been examined on screen. And it's kind of, obviously it makes some sense from the decommissioning from the ships and the tech and all that. And kind of interesting to see that graveyard of ships there. But, what do you do with the people? It's a lot of people that were part of this, empire that, what you just put them all in prison. So I like the idea there is this amnesty, and I think parts of this seem like they're doing some good there, but then you see this whole other side of the thing when they got Dr. Pershing there with the mind flayer machine, and they say it's not a mind flayer, but there's a bit of ethics involved there, as far as what line do you cross to get people to, it does seem like something, it's not too dissimilar from what the Empire would do. What they probably use that, but it's like, where's kind of that line? Where's that difference in the two, New Republic, Empire, and how things are handled? Obviously, Empire would not create amnesty housing and all that, but could totally see the mind manipulation, mind wiping machine being used on anybody from the Republic, New Republic, Old Republic, whatever it might be. So it's kind of an interesting conversation to think about and watch it play out. And I'm really curious too. I don't know, was she killing him? Was she wiping his mind? I just assumed from the beginning she was still working for Moff Gideon, trying to lead him along, getting him to come back and finish the cloning research he was doing. And maybe that's still the case. I guess we'll find out maybe next episode what the whole intention was behind this. I did not see the double cross coming. But again, and maybe they're trying to close up loose ends. Maybe the research they needed is done, and Gideon's trying to tie up all his loose ends, doesn't want the doctor to get any of the cloning research out there. But I don't, and again, maybe that was all just kind of a play on her part to get him to go along, to get arrested, to go through all this point. But be interested to see how that comes back into play, because we know we're going to see Gideon at some point in this season, this series. And if the whole cloning aspect, do we see Dr. Pershing again and all that? But again, it was a good episode. Really looking forward to episode 4 and seeing if it ties, if we get a continuation of what happened here. Do we jump into something entirely different? How does it all play out from this point? And what impact does what happened in this episode, both from Coruscant, the Dr. Pershing perspective, and also now with Bo-Katan and Djarin even joined at the hip even further at this point. Not much happened with the Grogu this episode, which makes sense, kind of what we had here. But again, curious what you guys thought about this episode, things you didn't like. Highlight, obviously, was when he was laid on the table. He's there. He's got everything strapped around. It was a trap. Just the pause. The doctor kind of looked away, and I don't know if that was a knowing look on his part, but maybe he wasn't involved with that. But that was kind of a great kind of insert of a joke there. Hopefully, I'm sure you all caught that as well. That was pretty funny. But again, a solid episode. Not my favorite of the season. Really hoping episode 4 kind of builds on this, and maybe it'll make some sense what happened today, and kind of, be interested to see if watching episode 4 closely to this one, what it does for this episode. But again, thank you guys for joining me for this reaction. I appreciate it as always. Any kind of commentary you have about your thoughts, opinions on the episode itself, what you're looking for, what you expect the rest of this season. But until next time, I will see you guys for the next episode in The Mandalorian, episode 4. Thank you guys again for watching.